leadership in the Soccology book. International businessman and food expert Clarence Francis's philosophy of management is that you can buy a man's time, physical presence, and a measured number of skilled muscular motions per hour or day. But you can't buy enthusiasm, initiative, loyalty, or the devotion of hearts, minds, and souls. You have to earn these things. When you look at leadership across different sectors, it begins and ends with the same thing: people. Leadership happens in all kinds of relationships, including those you have with your parents, teachers, and sports coaches. Your feelings about the way they lead you will affect your performance in those different environments. Your behavior at home, your success in a particular subject, and your performance in sport. The same is true in the workplace. Whether you work in the corporate world or the football world, leadership governs performance. Every season, all the teams at the bottom of a league have similar budgets and players, and the same goes for those at the top. Once you get past monetary resources, what remain are human resources. These are the most valuable because they can help a team stretch past financial constraints, use human resources well, and you can exceed expectations. Use them badly and you can stifle potential. And I go into the example of the corporate world because I've always looked at leadership in football universally, but it's strange because it was a gated community and it's slowly loosening up. So what I did is, when I was writing this chapter and to get the point across, I spoke to Tim Payne from KPMG, who's a senior partner, and it was quite interesting listening to the things he spoke about because they actually fitted in line with Arrigo Sacchi's approach, and it's actually quite comical. I'll read this bit. So when I speak about Arrigo Sacchi, it's under the collective intelligence heading. So I'll explain who he is for those who don't know. In 1987, Arrigo Sacchi became the manager of AC Milan. At the beginning of his reign, the Italian media cast doubt over his ability to manage one of the most talented teams in the world because he himself had not played at the top level. In response to the Italian press, Sacchi stated that he didn't need to be a horse first to be a jockey. Sacchi went on to transform the way Milan played, and to this day, the world continues to debate whether or not his Milan team were the finest football team that ever existed. And what I then going to explain is his philosophy around collective intelligence and seeing the team as an organism. We talk about organizations, but that's what they are, aren't they? They're a building of people, but they become an organization because of the people. So it's something that lives and breathes as one. And I also lean on the examples from previous chapters, because as I mentioned before, because we're talking about people, and there's a lot of crossovers in this. So we've got the Tim Payne examples. We've got quite a few references with regards to Sir Alex Ferguson, which I leaned on from Quinton Fortune and Kieran Richardson, who played under Sir Alex Ferguson. Again, used quite a fair amount from Tim Payne at KPMG. And I'll share this bit actually from Michael Bill. Michael Bill now is a first team coach at Rangers with Steven Gerrard. Sao Paulo manager Rogério Ceni came over to England to visit the Brazilian players at Liverpool. He went for dinner with Lucas Leiva, Roberto Firmino and Philippe Coutinho. He mentioned to them that he liked the Liverpool under-23s coach, which was Michael Bill. The players spoke highly of me, and that's why Ceni decided to approach me to become his assistant manager at Sao Paulo. Ceni didn't tell me this story until I had been working for Sao Paulo for 2 months. He said that Lucas, Firmino and Coutinho all spoke about how I was with them on a personal level. They said my coaching was good, but my personal skills made the difference. Alex Inglethorpe and I both see personal skills as part of the coaching package and not separate. It's something that I have had to work on as I'm shy. Whenever you hear the discussions about the best managers, people often talk about man management. But what does that mean? When I take over a group, I put everyone's birthday in my calendar. Whenever I learn anything about them, I try to remember it. I don't remember that they have 2 boys and a little girl. I ask, how's the little ones? Or with the younger ones, I say, how's mum, dad? And make sure you say hello from me. So Billsy was talking about him being at Liverpool and getting a job based upon how he made players feel. So this was Coutinho, this is Firmino, Lucas Leiva, these top players. This isn't about, oh, you make it, you've got to do it through grit, you've got to do it this way. It obviously made a big impact because it was worth them speaking about it. And and I can't remember if this is in the book or if this is a conversation that I had with Billsy, but he also spoke about how he would use the walk from the training ground building to the pitch to have conversations with the different players and to check in. So these were regular conversations. And he also mentioned that he won't just say, oh, you're right, because we are conditioned to say yeah. So he would often have conversations that would span probably around 15 minutes or longer. Because when you have those conversations, that's when the person's more likely to open up and say, well, actually, yeah, mum's going through this, my brother that, or I'm feeling this. So these were little strategies that he applied to himself, and I think these were really important to share, and the successes. He didn't do it to get the move, but I feel that it's really important that we acknowledge that this is a part of the package, and he made a point of saying this is not separate. Coaching and management in football is coaching and management universally, but football locked it into this space. But the benefits, and as you would read from Tim Payne in KPMG, in the corporate world, it's about, again, helping people to perform better, and you'll get to read about the impact it has on them. All right, under this heading, freedom to think. This is from Paul Mortimer. Paul Mortimer, his experience is unbelievable. So he's a qualified counsellor with loads of experience. He's a former footballer, played for Charlton, Villa, Crystal Palace. A coach, he coached Charlton ladies, he coached Wimbledon youth, he coached Arsenal youth, he coached Brentford's first team. Okay, heading, freedom to think. So still within the leadership chapter. I coached Jack Wilshere at Arsenal when he was 14 years old, but I can't take any credit for the player that he is. I never say this about players, but at 14, I knew he was going to be a superstar. He was too good, so good, that I used to play him centre-back, right-back, and play him right-wing. I would never play him centre midfield because he would get the ball from our keeper, run past everyone and score, which meant he wouldn't develop and neither would his teammates. So I played him in different positions to create different challenges and develop his understanding of the game so he could learn what the game looked like from various angles. I told Jack and his parents what I was doing and why, and they were okay with it. And I think this is brilliant because sometimes you might have a coach who's just doing stuff, but you don't involve the player, but it's the player that has to do it, or it's their life, you know, and if they don't understand it, then they can't be fully on board. And then you get this incongruence with, you know, it kind of damages the relationship. But I'll go into it more in terms of why it becomes an issue when we don't do these things. And I don't want to name players because, but actually I'll give you a situation that played out actually. Theo Walcott, I know Chris Waddle, and I'm just saying this because Chris Waddle's publicly criticised him and said that he wasn't really that smart.